In 1985, the founder of the world's most talked-about technology company was publicly fired by his own board of directors. To see how far the fall really was, you have to go back to 1976. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak set up a makeshift assembly line in this exact California garage. Jobs was intense. While other engineers saw computers as massive industrial tools, he envisioned a device simple enough for a normal person to keep on a desk at home. That vision materialized as the Apple II. It took computing out of corporate mainframes and put it into living rooms and schools. By age 30, he was at the center of a global technology brand. He was no longer a hobbyist. He was the public face of an industry, raising the stakes for everything that happened next. As Apple expanded, the culture fractured. Jobs pushed his teams to the brink, demanding absolute perfection and taking massive financial risks on unproven ideas. To mature the operation, the board of directors brought in John Sculley, an experienced executive tasked with bringing adult supervision to the ranks. The two men collided almost immediately. Jobs wanted to pour resources into radical new designs. Sculley needed predictable margins and corporate discipline. The resulting power struggle forced the board to take a vote. They chose predictability. They stripped Jobs of all operational control, effectively removing him from the empire he created. The exact uncompromising obsession that willed Apple into existence was the exact trait the new corporate structure refused to tolerate. Stripped of his title and his teams, Jobs fell into a deep depression. He spent months unsure of what to do next, isolated and defeated. Slowly, the devastation gave way to a strange sense of relief. Without the expectations of Wall Street or a board of directors, the pressure to maintain an empire vanished. He realized he was free to experiment again. He started over from scratch, launching a high-end educational computer company called Next. He also bought a small, relatively unknown computer graphics division from George Lucas. He named it Pixar. While his public profile faded, Jobs was operating in two high-risk sectors: high-end software development and digital animation. He was working without corporate oversight for the first time in a decade. Next Computer struggled to find buyers in the consumer market, but underneath the expensive hardware, Jobs' team developed a highly advanced object-oriented operating system. Meanwhile, his graphics team at Pixar figured out how to render feature-length 3D animation. In 1995, they released Toy Story, disrupting the entire film industry. While Jobs was having a creative renaissance, Apple was collapsing. By the late 90s, their product lineup was a confused mess, and the company was bleeding money. In 1997, desperate for a modern operating system, Apple purchased Next. The acquisition quietly brought Steve Jobs back onto the Apple campus. 12 years after pushing him out for being too unpredictable, the corporate machine was completely out of ideas. They had to buy back their founder to stay solvent. Once Jobs regained control, he immediately gutted the company's bloated inventory. He canceled dozens of confusing projects and focused all engineering on a handful of clear, consumer-friendly designs. The first result of this focused strategy was the iMac. It was colorful, simple to use, and sold millions, injecting life into the brand. From there, Jobs applied that same philosophy of aggressive simplicity to music players and eventually the cell phone market. Looking back on his career, Jobs stated that getting fired was the best medicine he could have taken. Being stripped of his prior success forced him into the most creative period of his life. The sequence of events, from the garage to the firing to the return, highlights a specific pattern. It suggests that the loss of his first company was a requirement for the innovations that followed.